everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Adoptions from the Heart TV. I'm your host, Amanda Aliberti. Last week, we had the opportunity to sit down with birth mom Dominique, who shared her experience of parenting other children while at the same time making an adoption plan. Today, we're going to continue that conversation with Dominique and talk about the importance of support during your adoption planning, as well as the impact that the Adoptions from the Heart support group had on Dominique after she placed. Now let's turn to Dominique. You had mentioned support, and I know earlier you had mentioned Marilyn. I'm curious what that meant to you to have the agency support going through this process, and even up until today.
Right. So at first, when I had reached out, I was kind of nervous. I was like, am I going to actually be able to speak to a real person, or is it going to be a machine? And I remember telling you I sent in my application and it came back and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is really happening. And Marilyn reached out to me, and it probably took me at least a month to reach out. It took that much to get the courage up to talk to her about it. And she was kind, she was caring, she was supportive. And the first time I got to meet her, she's like, I can come with you to the baby appointments. And I was like, I don't really know her at first, but I was like, sure, put a little bit of good faith forward. And she was wonderful. She was supportive. She's like, if you don't want me to look, she's like, I won't look. she's wonderful. She makes you feel so comfortable. And she literally, she was with me with every appointment. And at one point it was like, hey, I'm going to see Marilyn. And then when my sons got to meet her, they absolutely loved her. They're like, I want to go too. My 4-year-old calls her. He's like, that old lady? He's like, you're going to see that old lady? Can I come too? He absolutely loves Marilyn. And I think the last time we met up at Max's, and it was to sign off on the rest of my papers and stuff. And she's great. She explains everything to you, so it's not such a scary process, And she would just give me updates back and forth, which is awesome too. I had her phone number. If I ever needed to reach out, she was always there, and she would just check in, how are you doing and stuff like that. And it's just nice to have somebody like that, even if you don't have too many people to do that for you, But the last time we met up, she had 3 huge bagfuls of candy for my 4-year-old, and they are still eating candy.
I know that you recently joined the support group, parent support group, and I'm curious, what have you learned from that, of just kind of hearing from other women who have been in your shoes? Has that been helpful in your process?
Well, at first, in some ways, I was like, well, I can't really relate on some things. For me, I know a lot of the women were struggling with addiction. And for me, I was coming out of being with somebody who's a really big time alcoholic, and I was drinking as well. And it kind of spiraled me downhill. But at the same point too, a lot of the things and the feelings they were saying were dead on with my feelings, the indecisiveness and, not really sure where you stood. But then also, after you have the baby and you place, just seeing so many positive outcomes, I think the one support meeting that I really enjoyed is when we had an adoptee on with us and she answered our questions. Because as a birth mom, you do think of those things what is he going to think of me when he's older and stuff like that. But then in the back of my mind too, I'm like, well, this is why I'm doing open adoption though too. So he knows hey, I'm here and, I do care and I do love you. And, I want to see you grow throughout the years, So, and that really helped a lot. Just being able to know that there are other people out there, that you are not alone, is one of the biggest things. But I know too, talking with Sierra, she was wonderful. So when I talked to her before my first visit, she said about, opening up and talking to my son's parents that I picked, Sarah. I talked to her that weekend about my feelings, because at that weekend, my kids were kind of overwhelming me. They're like, Mom, oh my God, it's family vacation. Woohoo. We just want to go. But at the same point too, I was like, I want to stay and I want to spend time too, because I wanted to let Sarah know, hey, I am very thankful that you met us, and thank you for reaching out to me. And, I do want to spend time with you. It's just, I have 2 or 3 other kids that are trying to pull me to 5 other directions because they're so excited. And once I sat down and I talked with my kids, I said, hey, listen, I said, this is like a family vacation for us to go camping and stuff because they love it. I said, but mommy wants time with the baby too. So you've got to give mommy that time too, and so they kind of understood that. And then they calmed down a little bit and they're like, let mom spend time with baby Pete. And like, I really got to sit down and open up with her and, kind of like, I was like, I don't want to overstep my boundaries. I want to give you as much respect as what you give me. And, just having that talk with her and opening up with her really helped a lot. Cause now it's like, I know I can text her. I can send her gifts directly to her house. Cause at first, like I was sending gifts to the caseworker because I didn't want to overstep my boundaries, with her. I wanted to be a mutual respect, And she basically, after, we reached out and we talked about those things, that really helped clear a lot of the air. So I think that is like a main thing, like going into it. I wish I would have been more open to talking about things like that. When I sat down with them, like at Olive Garden and stuff like that, saying, how do you feel about me texting you or you sending me pictures or, vice versa, or mailing gifts back and forth. And just once I reached that level with her, I'm like, okay, yeah, I know we're cool. We're okay. Like we're good. So and like, she'll reach out to me when I reached out to her about like the pictures and stuff I told her we were having this. And I said, I really like these ones and I'd like to share these. What do you think? And would you like to add some? And next thing you know, she started sending me pictures like left and right too. And she's like, oh, I really love those ones too. And she's like, I said, Amanda is going to be a busy lady. Like poor Amanda. But it helps. It really helps, like opening up and communicating. So I can't thank Sierra enough for that. That really, you know what I mean? Cleared a lot of what ifs and questions for me. So.
Wonderful. Well, it seems like you've done so much, like, I don't want to say work, but you've put so much effort into making sure that you are mentally in the right place before and after placement. And you've surrounded yourself with really positive people, great resources, great support. And I think that's ultimately helped you as a person, as a parent to a child who's placed, as well as to a parent, to children you're parenting already. You're wonderful. I think the fact that you're so transparent with your kids at home really shows how much they're going to be able to understand the process as
exactly. Yeah.
That's just really wonderful. And we're just grateful that you were courageous enough to come on camera, share your story, help other women and men who are possibly considering adoption or just maybe struggling with how do I deal with the children I'm parenting at home when I placed a child for adoption. So you're great, Dominique. I think you're a great addition to our birth parent community. And I just, again, appreciate all that you do for us. And we're hopeful, guys, that this helped spread some more awareness about the adoption experience. And please tune in next week. Thanks so much.